sorry, but the whole... I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get what's wrong with people. You think you're so elite because you have a fucking car that's worth $7,000 that has a V8 that's outdated. Dude, it's not like, you know, if you had cam work and head work done and your car was built and you had some slicks and shit, you know, I'd give you some respect. I do give you respect in the fact that you can drive. I've watched his passes on his channel. The guy can actually shift pretty decently. If you consider just flat footing and just throwing gears driving, I guess, yeah, he does pretty good at that. But the dude, he's running on street tires for one. You're gonna brag about how much you can drag race and how fast you are. At least put a set of fucking slicks on your car or something, dude. There's automatic V6 Mustangs with street tires that run faster than you. Give me a fucking break. But you won't race them. Put your money where your mouth is. If you want to talk shit, if you want to fucking say you're better than people, if you think you're so much faster than these V6 guys, how come you won't race the guys who called you out? And then you make up excuses like, oh, I had to put my car back to stock and I had to take my tune off and all this kind of shit like this. Just shut up and put your money where your mouth is, dude. Apparently whatever you're doing works for you because you have whatever 1,600 followers on Instagram or some shit like that. I have 3,500 subscribers on YouTube. And I built it off helping people, not talking shit to people. I built it off making videos, tech videos, talking to people, communicating with people in the community, finding out what works, trying to help people go faster. You don't see me talking shit, bringing people down and doing all kinds of shit like that, all kinds of negative crap just to fucking make myself look better, to make myself feel better about the fucking size of my dick. Like you do, I feel bad for these fucking rest of your 3-valve buddies who are probably just embarrassed by the way you fucking handle your own fucking car. If you're a Mustang enthusiast, if you own a Mustang and you want to put down other cars, other Mustangs in the community, get the fuck out, dude. Get out, seriously. That shit does piss me off. Like, don't call yourself a fucking Mustang. You know, nobody even watching the Mustang community, dude, except your own little fucking pussy 3-valve friends. Seriously. I can't wait till you get smoked. I can't wait till you get smoked by some fucking V6s. But it'll probably never happen because you're too big of a woman. Get your balls out of your purse to fucking race them. You know you're gonna get beat, dude. That's why you won't race these cars. Justin, I can't wait till you fucking race this guy. Please tell me it happens. Please tell me it happens. Can't wait till he's gonna get smoked by a V6. But you know what? He'll just go back to talking shit. He'll make up a fucking excuse like, oh, my Bama tune wasn't on point, or something was wrong with my Bama tune. Oh, I'm on street tires, and blah, 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 blah. I have an old 6, so everything's wrong with it, and it's broken. It's a big piece of shit. I need to get a tune up. You probably got a million fucking excuses for the next time you lose to a V6. It's hilarious, dude. God. Anyways, talk about maintenance on the 3.7 liter. Maintenance on the 3.7 liter. What kind of maintenance should we be doing? What kind of oil change intervals should we have? How long should I go between my oil changes? What kind of oil should I use? Well, you guys know I'm a service advisor for Ford. Part of my job is recommending services to people who own Fords. Telling you what you're due for, certain mileages. The dealerships, they have recommendations for you when you go in there. You do your 30,000 mile service, your 60,000 mile service, 90,000, 120,000. Usually it's based off of 30,000 mile increments. For you guys with the Mustangs, I'm going to be honest with you and tell you what you should do, what's good for the car. Oil change intervals should be about every 5 to 8,000 miles if you're using synthetic oil, which I recommend using synthetic oil. The best synthetic oil that I can recommend is Pennzoil Ultra Platinum, full synthetic. There's been a lot of tests, a lot of arguments, a lot of conversations as far as what oils are the best, which ones are actually true synthetics. A lot of oils that label themselves as synthetics may not actually be truly full synthetic. Holy shit, I can't see. Oil changes being the most important that you obviously have to do for your car. Don't forget to change your oil. Don't be that guy. Wicks, filters. Make sure you use synthetic filter if you're using synthetic oil. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless. It's like taking a bath, putting the same clothes back on. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you use synthetic and full synthetic oil, which I do recommend, stick with the synthetic oil filter. And if not, if you just go to the Ford dealership and just have them do the regular oil changes, that's fine too. But if you're beating your car up a lot every day, if you're doing a lot of hard driving, I would go with the synthetic oil because it will give you better protection. Another big thing about synthetic oil too is the viscosity that it changes at with temperatures. So if you live in an extremely cold state, like say I live in Chicago, so right now it's 20 degrees, and the last 2 weeks it's been between negative 10 and 10 degrees. So when it's that cold outside, a regular oil is going to be a lot thicker than synthetic oil. So when I worked for Chrysler, Pennzoil was a big rep for Chrysler, and they actually came out and we did a test, and they froze 2 test tubes overnight with oil in them. One had synthetic, one had conventional oil. Now, the test tube with conventional oil did not come out of the tube when they went to pour it out. The synthetic oil poured right out. And what that shows you is that on a morning, say when it's 10 below or 0 degrees outside, and you crank your car up, your oil, if it's regular oil, is not flowing immediately. You have to wait to warm up before the viscosity changes to a point where it's actually lubricating properly in your engine. Synthetic oil will not change as much with the cold temperatures, so it will be less viscous, I guess is the word. Maybe it's more or less. I think it's less viscous, so that it's not as thick, and it will actually start lubricating your engine quicker on those cold days, which will give you better protection. That's what I always use to sell synthetic oil to my customers. That's what I use to push using synthetic oil, especially really very important if you live in a cold state like that. So this oil changes. Transmission fluid. Now, a lot of stuff depends how hard you drive your car. Everything depends how hard you drive your car. If you're beating up your car constantly, day in, day out, manual transmission fluid services for the automatic world, manual transmission fluid services, I believe by the book, are based off about 150,000 miles. So if you're doing a lot of shifting, if you're shifting hard, high RPM stuff, constantly abusing your car, lower that interval, okay? Take it down to maybe 30,000 miles. Okay, and just use a better fluid than what they recommend. Don't just put the regular stuff in there. Some people use Royal Purple. I can't really say what fluid is the best because a lot of people have different opinions on it. Just think if you can go with a synthetic transmission fluid, but you do want to change it at about a 30,000 mile interval. Now, automatic transmissions, the 6R80, I believe the mileage intervals is about 60,000 miles or so for transmission fluid. Some dealerships will push it at about 30,000 miles to do a transmission flush. You can do a flush. Flushing gets all of the fluid out of the transmission. If you do a pan drop with the filter, you're not exactly getting all of the fluid out, but you are changing the filter. You can also do a transmission pan off, filter change, and a flush at the same time, which will get a new filter and get all the fluid. You can do that once about every 60,000 miles and you'll be fine. That's what I recommend. That's what Ford recommends. And that's what I recommend to my customers at Ford when they come in. Other fluids, a lot of it's based off of a visual inspection. Now, Coolant Antifreeze, that's kind of stuff you should change maybe every 3 to 5 years. I believe most of it is rated for about 5 years, but again, stuff you want to stay on top of it. This stuff does become corrosive over time. You can get buildup in the system, which will clog up lines in your radiator and your heater core, which will lead to leaks eventually. So being proactive about your stuff, and it is going to require you to spend more money, and you may not want to do that, and you may want to just wait and I'll change it when it needs it to be changed. Preventative maintenance is one of the biggest things to preventing failures in a lot of parts in the cars. And I can only recommend what is right and what will prevent you from having problems. You don't have to do it as quick as what I'm recommending, but it definitely doesn't hurt at the same time to do that. All this stuff is fairly easy to do yourself. There's guides on YouTube that teach you how to do it. If not, you can take it to a dealership. Normal prices for stuff like this, if you take a car to the dealer and you want them to do the services for you, normal price on a transmission service is going to be between $150 and $180. Another big thing that the manufacturers usually don't recommend or put in their book that I do recommend is cleaning out fuel injectors, cleaning out the fuel lines, fuel rails, cleaning out the combustion chamber, getting all the junk off the intake and exhaust valves. A lot of dealerships and other repair shops, even places like Firestone and whatnot, have ways to do that where they will hook up a cleaner, hook up some kind of combustion cleaner and some kind of fuel injector cleaner to your car, which will clean out all the fuel deposits that get plugged up in your injectors. And if you know what a dirty injector is like, if you know a shower head that doesn't have a good spray, where it's got some of the holes are clogged up and it's just really weak over time and it just doesn't feel as good as it normally does. Same thing, an injector over time will start to spray like, it'll start to lose volume. So the car's got to work harder to push that out. If you keep them clean, you don't have to do that. You get better gas mileage, you'll get better throttle response, your car will run better overall. It's just stuff to take into consideration. Tire rotations, if you guys don't have staggered wheels, tire rotations are supposed to be done about every 8,000 miles. Give or take, some manufacturers recommend different things, but normally about every 8,000 miles is what I try and do. So if you're doing your oil changes every 6,000 or 7,000, just do your rotates every oil change. If you're doing your oil change every 4,000, then rotate your tires every other oil change. Tire rotations not only help keep the tread wear even on all 4 of your tires, but they also prevent tire cupping. Cupping or feathering is when you get uneven bumps or hills, or the tread. When you run your hand over the outside of the tread, you'll feel it feels wavy on the outside, and it causes a lot of vibration when you get up to higher speeds. And a lot of times it's irreversible once that happens, and you have to get new tires to get rid of it. But if you keep your tires rotated every 8,000 miles or so, that should prevent that. And you don't have to do any of this stuff to your car. Like I said, you don't have to do anything at all. You know, it's completely up to you how well you want to take care of your car. That's just what I recommend, and hopefully some of that stuff helps you guys out. I don't really know there's too much other maintenance. Oh, spark plugs. Spark plugs, I believe, are platinum on these cars. You can change them about every 80 to 100,000 miles. If you're racing a lot, again, if you're shooting nitrous, change them sooner, you know, if you want to. But you don't have to. Spark plugs should be good from about 80,000 to 100,000 miles. If you go to a dealership and you have 40,000 miles and they tell you gotta do tune-up, then you slap them in the face. You tell them no. Tell them no, I don't have to. Because you don't. Dealership to dealership, there's some places that are going to recommend some things to you that you don't need. Cleaning the throttle body is one of the biggest things that dealerships try and push to you, because it's the easiest way to make money. It's a quick service. And if you end up paying for it at a dealership, then, I mean, if you're not mechanically inclined to do the kind of stuff yourself, you're not doing anything wrong by doing that, because you're, again, you know, you're paying a little more to do something. But again, it's not, you can never go wrong with maintaining or taking care of things with your car. Dealership loyalty is important too. If you take a car to a dealership to have work done, the more services you do, the more maintenance you do, the more you take care of your car there at that dealership. If you're under warranty especially, the more likely they are to help you cover something down the road. Now, I'll give you an example of that, okay? If you come into a dealership, you've never been there before, okay, and you have, say, 58,000 miles in your car and your engine's blown up. You've never been there. They have no record of your history. You have no oil change receipts, nothing like that. The chances of them covering your engine are much less likely than as if, say, you've been going there, you know, for the last 2 years. You've done your oil changes with them. You've done flushes or maintenance with them, and they have record of that. They can see that you've been taking care of your car. The warranty process is going to be a lot faster and a lot less of a headache. That's dealership loyalty. And that's another thing that it really helps to have, because in the last 7 years I've been working at a dealership. I've seen a lot of people not get coverage that they're, you know, wanted to get, because they just show up one day and all of a sudden they want everything for free. You know, they've never been anywhere before, and all of a sudden the dealership's just supposed to hand out a free engine to them when they have no proof that they've even maintained their engine. I've had cars that have come in towed in for 30,000 miles, and they have the original oil filter on them since day one, and they sit and want to complain and yell at me because they want us to give them a new engine, when it's not the manufacturer's fault that your engine just blew up. It's your fault because you never took care of your car. So there's no loyalty there, you know. If you've been coming to me for a while and you've been doing your services, or you can at least show me that you've been taking care of your car and you want to be a loyal customer, I'll help you out. But don't come in barking orders saying you want this and that for free, and you don't want to do anything for it. It just doesn't work that way, you know. So this has been a hell of a day, but hopefully some of this maintenance stuff helps you guys out. I'm kind of burnt out right now. I've got nothing else to say. We're gonna get some videos up of some exhaust. We're gonna get some Borla exhaust videos. We're gonna get the MPT Tune Cyclone and do the 0 to 60 videos once we get the tune on there. And then hopefully the weather starts getting nicer. I'm gonna do some videos about driving stick shifts for you guys, how to drive sticks, how to launch, how to rev match. And then